gonna say something. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Shawn and Lacey Live. It's been a busy day at the house today, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. Like, wild. We are guessing who is on production today. As you can see, we are back in the Indiana studio. We're here for 2 weeks while family's visiting. Holiday fun with the family.
Hey everybody, welcome to Shawn and Lacey Live. Hey, somebody's saying that our mic is off.
Uh-oh.
Really?
Can you guys hear us?
No
Let's
mics.
see. No
mics.
Can't hear.
So you
Can't
don't
hear.
look muted.
Said no mica.
That's on
Somebody
the roadcaster. Roadcaster.
Hold on. Jamesy just said he put.
James put in the wrong setting.
James, come on.
Oh, man. All right.
I was going to blame James either way, but.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to Shawn and Lacey Live. We are excited to be in our Indiana studio with our favorite producer. Well, we have lots of favorite producers, but our current favorite producer. You guys can, everybody said that's Pat. They can hear you. Okay.
That's Pat.
All right, it's Pat.
Pat, you are already on the thing.
I know. Top shelf.
Top shelf, Pat. What is top shelf?
I got a kid in Michigan that I actually help take care of a little bit, and he decided to start a clothing company finally. So bought a bunch of his gear, trying to support him, and I'm very proud of what he's doing.
It's good. I like it. I like the hoodie.
I like
cool little trucker hat.
Yeah.
Look
That's
him up
nice.
online.
Top
Top shelf.
Does he have a website?
He's working on his website.
All right.
Just been hustling and selling as best he can locally.
I love it.
He's in Michigan, Grand Rapids.
What?
I forgot my thing.
What thing?
When you come back to us, will you run upstairs and to the left of the right by the couch where the remote is?
Oh.
Get the little doll. I need that.
Remember from today with the red glasses?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what he was talking about.
What's up, Larry Barth? Good to see you. You got Dave Pascal, Aaron O'Connor on the Zojal Gong TV. That's pretty cool.
Welcome. Yeah, very good.
Jeremy Hanley, Cassidy Bones, Otopoulos Janikis, Rhonda Vaughn, Johnny Steffens.
Lots of people right now.
Jeremy Hanley. Call your friends. You guys know what to do. Here's the drill. Make sure that you have subscribed to this YouTube channel. Make sure that you hit us with a like. I've got 0 likes. Nobody.
I've got 1 like. I don't know. I think you're a little bit
programming
behind.
Today. Thank you to all 18 of you joining us tonight because we're giving away $500 here on Shawn and Lacey Live. This is the last Shawn and Lacey Live before Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Today we are talking about goal setting. Everybody's ready to receive. We're drawing 5 names. Everybody's ready to receive. Ready to rock and roll here. We're going to talk first about goals. I love the picture. The Lacey picture.
Of course, I have some crazy facial expression. I have been told that I make lots of facial expressions. I talk with my eyebrows. Look, I'm Italian. This is how it is. I talk with my eyebrows and I talk with my hands, okay, to get my point across. It will never go away. It is part of me. It is in every cell of my being to move exaggerately. Is that a word?
Ted from San Diego on a golf course.
Yeah.
Good for you, Ted. There's no golf going on in Indiana.
Yep. Well, I know. Shawn's...
Dave Pascal's birthday's coming up. He was the featured subject of today's email. Hey, if you're not getting my emails, you got to reach out to Megan at blackdiamondclub.com. Get a hold of Megan at Black Diamond Club. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're missing all of the best emails ever. And hey, I saw Jen Troy on here. Hey, Jen, thank you so much for the awesome Sean Dill bobblehead.
Yes. I love it. And it's got his signature red glasses. I think it's so cute. Good job, babe.
Thanks, Jen. Super appreciate that. We're going to put this on the sets, all the sets. Bing.
Perfect.
Sean Dill
All right, well, who
bobblehead.
do we have that we need to thank as our sponsors
Oh,
today?
great. Let's do some announcements. What do we got going on?
Speed Fitness.
Tonight's broadcast brought to you by Speed Fitness. Find folks over there at Speed Fit, speed.fit. Find out all about this amazing revolutionary fitness machine apparatus going to take the world by storm. You got to make sure that you get one for yourself. You're going to see it all over the place. It's going to get bought up here, but
coming to
before it gets bought up, you can have one
home gym near you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who else we got?
You can do everybody if you want to.
Not everybody. I mean,
No.
like announcements.
Do we got any more announcements?
I mean, we got so much stuff. We got
so much
coming.
stuff.
I mean, I'll just hit you with them and then you'll do it.
Let's do it.
We got a challenge announcement?
We got a challenge now because the challenge is around the corner. Would you believe that?
I don't even know how you could be a part of this 5-day challenge.
Yeah.
But we are going to do a brand new Book Yourself Solid 5-day challenge coming up in January. I guess what I would say is be on the lookout for signups on this. I got to tell you, our guy Josh and James have done a phenomenal job of getting us all prepped up. It's going to be super cool. We've made a few modifications. Any of you that are swiping, deploying, make sure that you check it out. These guys they're on a roll. We had a great success with our last challenge. This challenge, rolling it back out.
And of course, you learn from your last challenge. And I think that's one of the most important things. We're talking about goals, and we talked a little bit about it last week. It's also important to reflect. But one of the things we did is reflected on the challenge and said, how can we make it better so people can get even more out of it and have more success and more ability to execute? So that's what this challenge is going to be about.
Yes. What else we got? Oh, we got the Resiliency Mastermind. Spent the day today with Jennifer White, who will be descending upon Nashville with us to meet up with Michael Chandler. The Resiliency Mastermind. Go to www.theresiliencymastermind.com. Theresiliencymastermind.com. January 12th and 13th, Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to be teaching you all things about preparing your mind for 2024 and beyond, making sure that you have a solid plan, but that also, I mean, how many times do we get derailed from our plan because something happens that was unexpected, where we're going to get your mindset right? All you got to do is go to www.theresiliencymastermind.com, and you will be joining me, Lacey, Michael Chandler. Dinner Saturday night at STK Restaurant. It's going to be off the chain. You're going to get to see just how many steaks Michael Chandler can eat. And you never know. We might have some hiatus tequila. We might have some cool swag for you. Go to www.theresiliencymastermind. You're going to be shocked at the price. What's up, Dana Dilling?
Yeah. So one thing I want to say before we do more announcements is we also can take this conversation anywhere you guys want to go. So if you have any questions around goal setting, reflecting, how do I prep myself for 2024, ask them in the chat. I'm looking at the chat right now. We can do this a little bit as like an AMA session where you can ask away and we will do our best to answer anything you have. So again, goal setting, preparation for 2024, amplification of what you're already doing, whatever it is, let us know. All right, Pat, what else we got?
Sales revenue profit.
Sales revenue and profit. Oh my gosh. So we're already, I think, halfway sold out on sales revenue profit.
We got to update this, James. We got to update this because it's only got me and Lacey on there, and that's only half
of the
speakers. We've got Ryan Stewman coming to Dallas. Ryan Stewman coming to Dallas. We have David Meltzer coming to Dallas. We have Michael Port
coming to
author
Dallas.
of Book Yourself Solid. Man, it's going to be amazing. When was the last time you guys heard Michael Port speak from the stage on Book Yourself Solid?
When's the last time Michael Port heard Michael Port speak from the stage
about
Book Yourself
This
Solid?
One's going to be off the chains. And I got to tell you, you missed Dallas. You're like, oh, I'll catch him next time. Michael Port, probably not a next time for Michael Port teaching sales. So you're going to want to make sure that you get registered. Go to www.blackdiamondclub.com March 15th and 16th. And I'll tell you the biggest trick. Here's the biggest hack. When you get registered on that page, there's a link to get your hotel room.
Yep.
Everybody forgets the hotel room, and then the room block sold out, and then you end up staying at the Red Roof Inn down the street, and you're bummed
Don't
out.
do it.
Don't do that. Get your tickets to Sales Revenue Profit. Book your hotel room, and if you're real smart, go ahead and book your flight, and then you're all set. Matt Griswold, get your registration, your hotel room, your flight. Do not wait for Nikki to take care of it. You must get all your I know Matt's coming. I know Matt's coming. He just doesn't. He's not registered. Don't be like Matt. There's some of you that are
Nikki
like just like Matt.
She already is on it. I love it.
Yeah,
Wait,
don't be like Matt.
Okay, be like Matt if you have a Nikki.
No, don't be.
She's
not
got
fair.
his back.
She does have his back, but why does she have to be like doing all that stuff? Get yourself registered. It's not hard.
Rhonda has 3 rooms just in case somebody is last minute and needs one. So
these people are smart. You get extra rooms because then the room block sells out. Then people are looking for more rooms. You sell them at a price.
Right. All right. So we got a question.
We have lots of questions.
We have lots of questions. Dr. Julie Bronze was first. So she says, how often do you set and review your goals?
I love this. I actually, we don't pick the topic. Team picks a topic. I would not have picked this as the topic because everybody does goals at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So cliche. Vision board, goals. This is an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
So I don't even know that I would what do you mean? It's every day. You need to be revisiting. Now, maybe if you're saying maybe you have them written in a book or something and maybe that might be less frequent. But I mean, every day when you wake up, you should be doing everything that you do with your goals in mind.
Yep.
We were talking about this. Also, too, I think that having clear goals helps you to create that sense of urgency. And I think a lot of people are missing that urgency. You know why? Because they're detached from their goals. Then here's what happens. Now it's the end of the year, and a lot of people are like, oh, I'm only this far away. And now they start all of their urgency. I have a sense of urgency every single day. Right? Every single day. And then there's so many areas of your life. So when you go to the gym, are you revisiting your goals? Of course you are. I mean, I'm getting texted now about David Meltzer about what he can eat, about his diet. So what's is he revisiting his nutrition goals, his health goals? You get all of these things that pop up, but it's a constant battle. It is not an end of the year consideration. I hate that we put this here.
Here's the one thing I know that Shawn likes to visit these all the time, but let's just say you are an end of the year type of goal creator. One of the things that I think is really important that where people miss the mark is oftentimes we set goals for 12-month rolling. Now remember, Shawn and I are big fans of, hey, if I have a collections goal of $1 million, I want to do that when? Not in 12 months, but as fast as possible. But here's the deal. If you are not comfortable with that process, it's not something that you do, and you do the traditional way of goal setting, okay, let's say that we have a $1 million mark that we would like to hit by the end of the year. You have to take your planner, your calendar, you need to put reminders somewhere along the line in the future to notate and mark where you feel like you should be. I think most people set goals. Again, I know you're not a fan of this, but I'm speaking to most people that set goals and then maybe revisit them in the first quarter and never revisit them again and have difficulty achieving them. I know that not everybody is going to revisit them as often as we do. So I think that people need reminders built in. So if you set a goal, whether it's a people goal, how many people you want to serve, collections goal, you should go in your calendar and say, should be halfway there and whatever that is, should be a quarter of the way there and whatever that is, because it just triggers you to revisit those goals, pivot. The idea is you could still say, I want to get there as fast as possible, but still have that marked somewhere in your calendar so that if you've already surpassed it, then you get to pivot the goal.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
This is where we disagree.
It's not disagree, but you're not saying it right.
Okay.
If I want to do...
What if I am saying it right?
This is so important. This is so important. This is why you don't do goals at the end of the year. If I did $500,000 in revenue this year, and I say, well, I want to do $1 million in revenue next year, What that means is I did 43,606. I'm doing average over the last 12 months, $43,666,000, $43,666 in revenue. In January, I'm not
You're
going to
not going to
do
be halfway
83.
there.
So I
I
will not
understand.
be halfway there.
Right.
At the end of
It was an example. It
but
wasn't
but
a real.
I get
Yeah.
that, but here's what the problem is people don't understand that it was an example.
Mm-hmm.
So now here's what happens is what you don't understand is using that methodology. People don't understand. You got to understand math. And you've got to plot this out. Because it's a ramp up and you started the year at 43,666 and you plan to end the year at 83,333,
you're not going to hit $1 million.
you're not going to hit him.
Yeah,
You're not
you
going to
have
hit
to
it.
plan
You
to
won't
end the
make it.
year at 100 and
But here's what people don't understand is actually at the end of the year you have to be at double $167,000 in the month of December. That for most of you, you're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's such a faulty system when you plan it out across a 1-year calendar.
That's why it has to be as fast as possible.
It's just as fast as you can inside of any 365 day period.
But you can have other goals like weight loss.
Sure, weight loss
that you could plan in that way. You could have goals around just like
a finite, like a destination,
yeah,
a destination,
yes. Travels goals.
I want to go to France.
Saved in your
Once
bank
you've done
goals.
it, that's a destination.
Yeah,
You've made it. You're there.
Ways. Collections
but
is probably not the
when
best
you're looking
solution.
at things that are like building on each other, which is typically listen, entrepreneurs watch this. That's one of the big things that they're doing. But here's what happens is then at the halfway point, you're so far away from being halfway there.
You can never catch up to get there.
And you can't catch up to get there. And you guys do this over and over. And then this is why. I've always said, like, I ask my clients, all right, so you did 500,000 this year. What's your goal for next year? And they're like, it's like 700. And I'm like, where'd you come up with that? I know where they came up with it. They never know. They don't ever answer. I know where they came up with it from past experience. When they were trying to get to $1 million and they fell short because they didn't understand math and they actually shot themselves in the foot psychologically. So they felt bad about it. So then over time, you end up being 50 years old and you have this mental complex because you keep selling yourself short because you want to play the game within the construct of a man-made calendar.
Right.
That is what is the danger of just setting a goal in December and then saying January 1st, we start marching towards it because you don't actually understand all that is involved in attaining, unless it's destination. I got to give you that. If it's destination,
then it's okay to do it.
Then it's okay to do it that way.
Yeah. Actually, one of the things that we used to do with our franchisees is we would just work it backwards. So if you knew that you had to be at 167,000 at the end of the year, the month of December, then you would actually work the goal backwards and say, if I have to be here, where would I have to be in November? Because people try to do it this way and they get lost.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, like every student ever has done this, right?
Yeah.
Anything that you had to do over the course of time, and you're like, oh, this is easy, as I just have to do this increment every single week.
Right.
But you don't realize that you're starting from zero. And so
you can't just go immediately to that increment.
Yeah. So immediately you're behind. Immediately. And and now you're like, oh, I'm losing. And then this is what everybody does is then you just recalculate. Oh, that's okay. Now all I have to do is this increment every week.
Right.
And so it's the same way. What you fail to understand is, listen, at the end of this run from 500,000 to $1 million, you have to 2 million
past what you think you need to do.
Well, you're actually running at a $2 million a year clip just to get to the $1 million to make up from the $500,000 clip that you did in January.
And actually, if you understood it this way and you were able to achieve that, then that means the following year you're exponentially going to grow in your goals.
Yeah, but people don't do that because if you
I'm
could
saying
do
if
that,
you could,
but that would mean that you were like just doing it as fast as you can because you weren't playing it against the calendar,
right? Which is what we say to do.
Playing it against the calendar is what causes everybody to bail, to abandon ship. Because here's what happens: I'm going to, even if I said I'm going to lose 24 pounds next year, so the resistance is to not say, and that's just 2 pounds a month,
right?
Because then January 8th, I'm behind. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna make it. And then I'm giving up. Everybody by the end of January has given up on their goals, in large part because they don't understand math and how this whole thing works. And so they've convinced themselves erroneously, not correctly, that they're not going to make it. Whereas if we just played the game, show up every day, do as best as you can, eventually, and what I always say is, Like if you understand the way that we do goals,
just look at
just beat last year.
last year's
So
January.
today is December 20th. Every one of you on the chat should be like, hey, dude, Shawn, you got it. You're all wrong. All I did today was beat December 20th, 2022.
Yep.
If that's all you did, if you beat December 20th, 2022, and tomorrow you beat December 21, 2022, and you do this consistently for 365 straight days, you're going to hit your goals. Yep. You're going to be ahead by leaps and bounds of what you actually think that you can do.
So that was the long answer to a short question.
What's the next question? Demand long answers.
This. What is the
Corey had a similar question, but he kind of had a shift tactics part. He ended to the end, so I wanted to put it on the screen.
Oh, when do we shift tactics? Yeah. Oh, pivot, adapt, change, shift.
My eyes aren't that good. What did it say?
Like, so when would you pivot?
I can't see that.
When would you pivot?
Ooh, I think, man, that's a great question. Oh, there we go. I can see it on my screen.
Yeah. How often are you checking your goals and progress towards them? And when do you decide to shift tactics if necessary? So when do we pivot?
That's $1 million question, right? That's a great question. And so here's the thing. One, I think this is one of the reasons why you need great coaching and mentorship, because a third party that's telling you time to shift tactics, very important. And I'm going to lead with that as an advanced answer, but I do think that's super important. The majority of you don't have good coaching and mentorship. And in absence good coaching and mentorship, you tend to shift tactics too soon.
Well, I was just going to say, because you also don't understand that trajectory that we were talking about. So that means when you're assessing your goals, you already think you're behind when you may actually, in fact, be ahead. And then you shift tactics on what's really working. That's dangerous.
All the time, people
all
do
the time,
people do it all the time.
Yes.
We had conversations today, a lot of conversations with clients today relative to that. Like, hey, I'm going to start this. We teach a very specific marketing strategy, very specific. It's foundational. You have to lay a foundation for it to work. Once the foundation's laid, it's unstoppable. It's the best thing in the business, hands down. I am not being, it's not hyperbole. I'm not exaggerating. I've never seen anything like it. We didn't invent it. So I'm not saying we're the best. I'm saying we were taught this by our marketing team, and we share it because that's the nature of what we do. We're very transparent. We want you to know how we do what we do. Never seen anything like it. I got to tell you, I don't know if you noticed this. When today at 7 o'clock, we broke for the day. Mm-hmm. At 7 o'clock, we had received 30 leads that had come in today alone. That's today's count. That means that our sales team has to follow up on 30 individuals in an 8-hour period. I mean, that's really hard. Yeah. And so, I mean, this works absolutely incredibly. But what we talked about is so many people expect to see some sort of tangible ROI in the first 5 days. That's not, so you need someone to tell you realistically, set expectations. As a general rule, you and I say 90 days.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need somebody to tell you your expectations are not in alignment with reality. Like, and people are a lot of times will say, well, I have big, what do they call that? Big, hairy, audacious goal, right? The BHAG.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Like, oh, but I have this, so I expect way more, which I get, but if that means you may have to do way more to get way more, right? So a lot of people want to do what everybody else is doing, but expect to have a 5x that other people are not. Like they want to put in the same amount of ad spend that the other person, the competition is putting in, but expect to get more leads, right? They don't want to hire a sales team, but they expect to convert at a higher level. You can have the expectation, but you still have to take the action, right? Action has to meet expectation.
Absolutely.
What else? So you need help pivoting.
I don't see any other questions.
Oh, no other questions.
Yes,
should we draw a name?
We can do that. But I thought this was good from Skip. I didn't know if the Book of Yet. He said it was good to touch on.
Oh, yeah. I love that. The Book of Yet is actually more important to understand so you don't get sidetracked from your goals.
People are saying our levels are off. How are our volume
Are they still
levels?
saying that?
No, not those. The sliders.
Our levels are still off?
The sliders up all the way now.
All right. Are we better? Okay.
Yeah, I had one. I turned it up since I saw the one comment, so hopefully everybody can hear a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Book of Yet super important. So I love the idea of when do you shift tactics. It wasn't when do you change goals, right? And I think a lot of people, they get frustrated, they get off track, they see something else and they change their goals way too early on in the year because they get comparison syndrome, or they see what somebody else is doing, or they're looking at some new fandangled, marketing thing that they think that if they implement that, they'll get X, Y, and Z. And so they're shifting their goals when they're looking at external things, right? What's wrong?
I'm just getting, Dr. Vaughn wants to know, what is the Book of Yet?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I think maybe it's only Kat, because Kat's the only one that's saying it's low.
Well, they're saying it's Pat's mic.
Me.
Oh,
Especially
Pat. Pat might
Nobody
be
wants
on
to hear
mute.
Pat.
Are
Is
you on
yours
mute,
muted,
Pat?
Pat?
No, you go there on the
That just
panel. It
pressing
would be the
buttons,
red.
man.
It would be red. No?
Don't be pressing.
right.
There's like
Pat's pressing
9,000
buttons over
Do
there.
not press.
He looks like a DJ.
James will be over here in 3 minutes. Start pressing buttons over there.
Anyway, yes.
I just don't press any of them buttons. What's the Book of Yet?
So the Book of Yet is when you hear an idea. Maybe it's a magic bullet. Maybe it's something somebody else is doing. Maybe it's something that a coach told you. Maybe it's something that a colleague told you, and you love the idea. But when you run it through your current goals that you've created and decided on preemptively, when you run that idea through there, it doesn't line up with where you're trying to go. That idea will not move the needle on the goal that you're trying to achieve. So if it doesn't, even though it's a good idea, it just may not be the right idea for you yet. So maybe the timing's not correct. It doesn't line up with a goal. Maybe you don't have the human resource in order to get that off the ground. You love the idea, but it's just not right yet. So you put it in the Book of Yet. And then, hey, this would be great if you guys are creating goals this year. Maybe you go back to your Book of Yet and say, do anything on my list in my Book of Yet? Would any of these ideas actually help me achieve the new goals that I have? Then you can implement those ideas. So we love the Book of Yet so that you don't forget wonderful things that you thought would be great for you, but it just didn't fit in that moment.
Well, they can hear you, not me. So you do the thing.
What thing am I doing?
All of it.
Things.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna draw a name.
Don't forget that.
I was going to say Otto had one more question.
Oh, Otto had a question.
Oh, Otto had a question. Yeah.
What you got, Otto? Are goals too big or too small?
I don't know.
I think that's for you to decide, Otto. It's
But I think that listen, yeah, that's some people just said outrageously high goals, and like you said, big, hairy, audacious goals, because they were at an event and someone told them to do that. Other people just set these very mediocre goals. And I think that, again, this is where coaching and mentorship comes in. Even though I don't advocate for goal setting, I get it. Social media, everybody, peer pressure, everyone tricks my clients into thinking this way anyways, which should be a conversation in March and in June and in September, but it happens in December. But I also think, I spend a lot of time with my clients encouraging them to think bigger relative to their goals, because typically, we just set like some mediocre goals because we also don't want to let ourselves down. So we set something that we know we're going to hit, but I also don't think that you want to set something so far out there that you're going to feel defeated because you attempted something that maybe you even knew from the jump that it wasn't going to happen. So it's kind of an art. You've got to get it right in that sweet spot where it's a little bit, they call it like stretch goals. Right. So it's just outside of my reach, my attainment. And then I, come up with a plan and I go for it.
Before we answer Jane, I think Jane's question is next.
Jane's
Before we answer that question, I cannot stress this point enough. Do not forget that when you are creating goals, you need to make sure that your mindset matches up with the goal. Because if you create a goal and you do not believe that you can get there, if you do not believe that you have the time to actually serve that many people, to collect that amount of money, you're not going to get there. If you don't believe that you have the right people on your team, you're not going to get there. You have to understand that you need to make sure that you don't have limitations, subconscious, deep embedded limitations that won't allow you to actually get to that goal. A lot of people put a goal on paper, but they don't actually think that they can achieve it, or they have old stories or old narratives that drive them, so the goal is not achievable. So I love what Jeremy Handley said. He said, in 2024, one of my goals is letting go of my past, right? So a lot of times, some of you create goals all around like business goals. You also need to create mindset goals or breakthrough goals when it comes to your way of thinking or whatever it may be. So don't leave that piece out, because that's just as important as you understanding the mechanics and the tactics to get there.
I mean, it's not, I'm not saying, I mean, I know Jeremy, so he knows I'm not like busting on him or being inconsiderate. But I mean, something like that is just it's not easy, but it's just something that you do, right? It's not necessarily even a process. It's like, hey, it's something that I do. And listen, the great Stephen Lovegrove has shared with us tons of content. We've seen a lot consumed a lot of great content, grown a lot ourselves in this area of letting go, in order to receive your, that is so important too in this conversation, because I think, you said you have to pair action, right,
With expectation,
expectation. A lot of times too, you getting to your goals has an awful lot to do with, setting goals of things that you're just going to let go. So I love Jeremy's,
yeah.
Goal. A lot of times you guys are not receiving your abundance because you are not letting go. You're holding on to it could be holding, not even like past or emotional. I'm not trying to get all Dr. Ryan Wakeham, not a psychiatrist or a psychologist here, but I even think like, you're holding on to that previous branch.
Right.
Like you have this thing, then you want to go for it, but you can't go for it because you spend all your time doing this thing, and you wonder why. Like, and again, this has been popularized, like, working your 9 to 5 and then go and work your side hustle. Well, imagine how fast you could get there if you didn't have the side hustle. And a lot of people are like, that's not practical, and I understand that, but it is practical in the theoretical realm that we're discussing.
Yep.
And you don't realize that a lot of times you don't get to where you are attempting or where you're even destined to be, because you're doing things in the past. You're holding on to things in the past, right?
I saw this video today of a pastor of a church, and it was a great illustration. He had these two um, ladders next to each other, and then the bottoms of them were like this, and then the tops were going this way. And he was standing 1 foot on one ladder and 1 foot on the other, and he's practically doing the splits. And he was saying, like, you cannot desire all the blessings from God and have 1 foot over here and then the other foot in the blessings or desires of the world. And because at some point you can't go up both ladders. You have to decide, you have to take your foot off of one thing in order to climb the other thing. So that's the same concept. You have to be able to let go of one thing in order to grab the branch of the other thing. You can't constantly be straddling both things forever. Otherwise, you'll never be able to elevate and rise. And I was like, man, that's just such a good illustration for all the mindsets and the limitations and the desire to have too many things and not be willing to let go of one to really capture the other.
All right, Pastor Brian Hall.
Jane.
I'm glad we're getting these harder questions tonight from people I know. Jane says she's never been the greatest at creating rewards.
Mm-hmm.
I got this a couple years ago in a workshop it was a virtual workshop from someone that we know as well. And I got to tell you, you got to become the greatest at creating rewards, and you've got to become the greatest at rewarding yourself, because this is so vital. And I'm just gonna, and I love Jane. She's the greatest sales director that we've ever had in the history of Black Diamond Club, just crushing it. But from a mindset standpoint, this is very worrisome for everybody that struggles with this. And people, it's very common. People are like, I struggle with rewards. I struggle with coming up with them. I struggle with giving myself a reward after I've reached this. And then what that speaks to is then you don't really value yourself. Like I mean, and people say like, well, is it hard? It's easy for me to reward my spouse or my kids. So you value them over yourself. And then this has been very popularized where, yes, I do. What? Like, how can that possibly be? Because if I value, and here we go, you're going to get the comments, not me. But if I value Lacey more than I value myself, and I didn't just live my life for her, that doesn't actually serve her.
I wouldn't want that anyway.
Well, I don't know. People are going to be mad now.
Why are they going to be mad? That's not something that I would even desire, because
I can't believe your husband said that in a
if you
live
don't
transmission.
value, if you don't value yourself first, you can't show up as your best self for me, right?
Yeah,
So you valuing you values me as well.
Yeah, I hope that you value yourself more than you value me. I
I
hope that.
do.
So that's the thing. So if you, Jane,
Yeah.
Lacey, you watching are going to inspire the best out of yourself, then you must motivate yourself. Some of you will be like, "Well, I don't need a reward." Well,
Right.
that's a lie, because you're human. And even if the reward is like I get a glass of water after I run the 400-yard dash and I'm thirsty, like yeah, little kids they play the soccer game, they give them little slices of orange, and you look forward to that.
Right.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but they're like psychologically like we get to eat the orange. So the same thing, like you go out there and you work really hard and you try and you give your best effort and you hit these goals that we're talking about. And if your life does not change for the better as a result of the effort that you put in and as a result of you hitting the goal, then psychologically you've damaged yourself, and your subconscious, not your conscious, your subconscious says, what's the point of all of this? And that is dangerous, my friends. That is dangerous. You must feed your self conscious mind and you must show your subconscious that life improves dramatically when we try hard, when we wake up and we exercise discipline. That was something else somebody told me, like, man, like, how do you have the discipline to do all of these things? I said, well, one of the keys is that Lacey and I live our lives by the calendar. So if it's in the calendar, it gets done. Put marketing, put money, put sales, revenue, and profit in your calendar. I said, can you imagine that, all of you who did not buy your ticket when the little thing came up and you said to yourself, wow, Ryan Stewman, Michael Port, Dave
And I miss
Meltzer,
that.
I want to go. I wish I could go. Can you imagine that you and I wished we could go? Can you imagine that we were like, I don't know if we're going to be there? Or if it like came up like, it was March 1st and I was like, oh, golly, I forgot that it was that. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
That discipline is just simply because our lives are better when we run our lives with discipline. We make more money, we have better relationships, we're more effective, and honestly, we have more free time. We do funner stuff because we're not running around helter skelter. But our lives improve. If it didn't improve, if our lives were miserable and we just ate protein powder and asparagus, even if we did everything right, then we would be like, what's the point?
Yes.
So you have to figure this out. Find whatever it is that will inspire and motivate you, like you're trying to inspire and motivate a client, someone that you work with, a significant other, your best friend, and then reward yourself for accomplishing the things that you told yourself that you were going to do. The last thing is, if you tell yourself that you're going to get a reward and you do the thing, and then you say, well, I have a hard time actually rewarding myself. Well, that's even worse because now you've admitted that you lie to yourself. I can't even, like, lying to other people is bad. Like, it destroys trust. If I habitually lie to Lacey, our relationship's not going to be intact in very short order. Well, if you habitually lie to yourself, you can't even live with yourself. You're like, you don't trust yourself because you always lie. You tell yourself, if we do this, then you're going to buy a new Rolex. And then you do it and you're like, oh, I can't buy a new Rolex. And then your subconscious mind is like, don't listen to that conscious mind. That conscious mind's a liar. It tricks us every time. It gets us to do hard
all sorts
stuff.
of crazy
and
things.
Then nothing changes. It always backs out of the deal.
Right.
There you go.
Love it.
I hope people could hear.
I think people could hear. I think we're good.
I think it's better.
All right. What do we got, Pat?
How do you determine if goals are too numerous or varied? You see that? Yes? No? Maybe so?
What?
I'll answer the questions.
It's actually a good question, but like, how do you determine
I don't think it matters.
If they're written in red, they're too numerous.
No.
If they're written in green, they're too varied.
I don't think that your goals can
I love
be
James Taylor.
Yeah, me too. I don't think your goals can be too numerous or varied. Goals are varied. Goals are goals, right? You get to decide what you create goals around, how you want to create them, and when you do it. Everybody is uniquely different. I think so. If you feel like your goals are random, okay, doesn't matter. They're just still goals around the things that you're doing in your life. Yeah. So I don't know if that I would ever think that they're too varied
or numerous. I can't imagine like, oh, this person has too many goals.
Boo. Yeah. What do we got? Skip.
Have lots of goals in lots of areas.
Yes. Vary them up. What's Skip say? Well, how do you help your mindset when you fall short of your goal or feel like every step you take seems to get you farther from your goals? It's easy to. Okay. So first off, this might be a little bit it's just a mindset shift. It's just a perspective shift. I don't know who told us that the only time that we can get rewarded is when we actually achieve the goal.
Well, I even said it was very important. I said try hard.
Yeah, this is crazy that like y'all think that the only time I get to reward myself or feel good is when I actually hit the goal. When did progress get so diluted like that it doesn't count? Like I think that you guys need to figure out how to reward yourself for the progress that you make, the strides that you make towards the goal. Whether you fully hit it or not in some arbitrary time frame that you made up, which is also the problem, right? You probably put a time limit on it and that's why you're feeling like you haven't achieved it. But honestly, I think that you need to figure out, how can I reward myself for progress? How can I reward myself for effort and action and waking up every day and driving towards a goal that I put out there because I care, because I'm passionate. So I think that you got to figure out how to essentially just create more rewards around the progress that you make and the steps that you're taking instead of attaching it to the end goal all the time, every time.
And falling short speaks to, and I know that that Skip is a loyal listener and applies all the things we talk about, but just want to point out that falling short of a goal implies a man-made time constraint.
That's what it. Yeah, that's what
right?
I was saying.
And this happens all the time, and this is the danger. We're talking tonight about you doing it to yourself, but you guys do this to your team, where you get your employees together, and you're like, guys, if we can do $50,000 in revenue this month, all y'all are going to get $500.
Yep.
And then you do $49,000 in the month, the calendar month.
That was still freaking killer.
That was that's 49,000. You're $1,000 away, and everybody's bummed out. Everybody's like, we lost the Super Bowl, and the same thing. Like, hey, well, you made it to the Super Bowl, and you get it that you lost. But and unlike the Super Bowl, with the $50,000, we should just play that rolling, because if we fell at 49 today, well, let's get it back tomorrow.
Yep.
We'll just hit it tomorrow. But we didn't do it that way. We had an arbitrary end date because the calendar turned. And because of that, now we feel this like letdown, right? So when we say falling short of a goal implies a man-made time constraint.
Yeah,
you just put that.
Gotta not do
so
that.
if you were like, well, I'm here and I thought I would be there by this date, but listen, I'm still going to get there. It's just going to take me 2 more days. And then I'll celebrate it in 2 days, right?
Because I still hit it. I still collected $50,000, right? And then I love what Cassidy's saying. We talked about that at our last Money Matters event, where we talked about doing milestone rewards. Like so many people, again, they just have this long, far out goal, when in reality, there's all these little stepping stones that you had to go on along the way to get there. So have somebody hold you accountable, hold yourself accountable. Reward yourself in the, like Brian Hall says, in the small victories, because those matter just as much.
Hey, I know we got to do the drawing. I just want to let everybody know I posted today earlier in Black Diamond Club, but we got 87, hardcore peeps on this right now, the best of the best. CES is coming up in Las Vegas. I'm thinking about jamming out to CES and hooking up with my best friend in the world, David Meltzer, because he's doing a mastermind with Dane Cook. This is a content mastermind. So when we talk content, let's get lessons from the best of the best when it comes to content. Dane Cook, you, me, Dane Cook, Dave Meltzer. If you want to go to Las Vegas, and then I said added bonus if you think it's a bonus.
Yeah,
I'll be with you the whole time.
Be hanging out.
I'll be hanging out with you. Happy to give you some insights or coaching or whatever. We'll be together for 2 full days. If you want information, I have a super special price. Because you're rolling with me. I'm going to get you in for an incredible deal. Hit me up. Hit my slide into my DMs. Let me know that you want to go to Las Vegas with
Permission granted, y'all.
Me and Dane Cook and David Meltzer will hang out. We're going to be at the Wynn. We're going to be at the Blue Wire Studio. So I actually have some like practical. We're going to be in the studio working content. I'm going to make sure you get some content. So if the post-production value there, I'm going to make sure that you get content with Dane, get content with Dave. If you want content with me, that's you. I'll pay you to do some content with me. We're gonna get you content with all kinds of super cool people. I'm not selling tickets.
No, I don't even know if I'll be there. Yeah,
I don't think you'll be
I don't
there.
think I'll be there.
But I'm just gonna take a little small group. And go out to Vegas. That's going to be right on the heels of the Michael Chandler Resiliency Mastermind. So I gotta get in and get out, but I'm gonna make the best of the time that we have together. Hit me up if you want to go out to Las Vegas with me, chill with Dane Cook.
All right, we got some names to draw.
Yeah, we do.
All right, everybody.
Yes, we do.
Great, great talk tonight. Let's see what we got. Right, what do we got on the digital canasta for $500? $500.
Draw.
Get ready. Get ready.
Who I saw?
Paul! Go.
Man, right out.
You know what's crazy? I have not seen Paul on here. There he is. Boom. Right out the gate. Winner. Paul comes on every
Christmas.
week.
I gotta say, I did see Lisa McCoskey's name. It's just like when I saw it slide by. Bang. Yeah. Blue Paul. Lands right on
Paul
Blue
is here
Rich
every
Paul.
week.
Half a rack.
Good job, Paul.
Paul is a money attractor. I saw
he's a magnet.
He likes to walk when he does the coaching calls, and he showed his hand full of coins. And a lot of people think like, these doofuses, and we get made fun of a lot.
About picking up money,
picking up coins. Well,
that means you're a money magnet.
And look at, because Paul honored the universe. The universe was like, I'm going to give you some coins, and I'm going to see if you respect the coins. And Paul picked them up. Literally,
he respected
in the same
money.
week, he gets $500.
Merry Christmas.
Don't be passing up those
Excited
coins,
to see y'all next week. We've got some extra giveaways next week that we're going to be doing.
Super important. Super important. If you want to go to the Dane Cook Mastermind with me, you got to hit me up in my DMs. Super important. Super important. We're giving away kid prizes again next week. Yay. So we know that a lot of kids are going to be in the house. Make sure that you tell them this week. Say, hey, kid, set your alarm for 8 o'clock next Wednesday, because Shawn and Lacey are going to be giving away kid prizes, and we're going to be giving away big kid prizes. We're going to reset the pot.
I wish we could have a digital canasta for kids, but we need to know in advance if the kids are coming. We got to try to.
We have to. Yeah. How would we know?
We're gonna figure this out.
And they got to be there. And they got to be there. So we did great last time.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, you guys make sure that you have your kids ready next week. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, Shawn and Lacey live. Merry Christmas. Hey, kid, Merry Christmas.